Turnstyle and similar technologies have given new meaning to the concept Big Brother is watching and have raised some serious privacy concerns. And to explore that and more, we're now joined by Alan Chapell, founder of Chapell and Associates. Alan, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you
now,
too.
Alan, some phone users are not very happy with this Turnstyle app because they don't actually get to opt whether their data is being tracked or not. The way that it works, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that they have these sensors positioned and they automatically send data. Is that even legal?
Well, I think when you think about consumers, the thing you want to think about is that some really, really care about this type of thing and others don't. And so the challenge for companies like Turnstyle is going to be, how do you provide just enough information for people who really care about it and enough privacy controls without otherwise disrupting the experience for people who don't care as much.
But what about the issue of consent? I mean, when you go on Facebook or Foursquare, you are actively participating, actively giving your location. Even if you use an app which has a geolocation, you've made that choice. But with Turnstyle, you're just walking around with your phone and the data gets picked up.
It does. The data gets picked up by a number of entities, including your carrier and a whole host of other companies.
But then that data gets used to form a profile about you without your consent.
Well, I think that data gets used in a non-personally identifiable mechanism to deliver value on behalf of, I think in this case, it's mostly retail companies.
Well, we do have the situation that Turnstyle is not unique. There's also other people with developing this geolocation data. We've got Euclid, for example. Apple's just come up with something, iBeacon technology. Is this the growing trend?
Oh, I think, yeah, anytime anybody has a mobile device, you're going to see companies collecting data bits for ad purposes and for a whole bunch of other purposes. And that's really where a lot of the innovation is these days.
And how do these businesses use it to their advantage?
Well, I think in the case of Euclid, I think they are taking this data, they are de-identifying it, so sort of removing it from, so that nobody can know exactly who that particular consumer is. And so in that way are creating some privacy safeguards so that consumer privacy interests are addressed.
But how does it affect the business? How are they able to then use that data to their advantage? I mean, retailers are paying a price for this information, so obviously they're using this for targeted marketing.
Right. Well, not just targeted marketing. I think most retailers take an interest in how consumers are visiting their stores. Where are they visiting? What types of, what are the traffic patterns? And so to the extent that they can work with technology partners to help them understand who their customers are a little bit, they're willing to pay money for that.
And have we had any backlash yet from the government, any federal control, any civil rights group objecting to this breach of privacy?
Well, I remember a year ago, Senator Franken had made a fair amount of news, and I think even launched a bill talking about mobile privacy. I think partly in response to that, and partly in response to some concerns from privacy advocates, a number of these companies got together with Senator Schumer and a group called the Future of Privacy Forum, and they created a self-regulatory code of conduct. In other words, they created a rule set for companies in their business that they have to adhere to if you want to be considered responsible companies.
So I don't want my data known. I'm walking around in a retail store, and quite frankly, I don't want Turnstyle or another type of app to know my whereabouts. How am I able to opt out of this?
I think that the self-regulatory code that they've adopted requires the retailers to place in the store some notice that not only tells you that these types of companies are collecting information, but it does provide you with instructions for how to opt out.
So I would actively have to then turn off the Wi-Fi or something on my phone to opt out of this?
You would have to take proactive steps in order to opt out here.
Well, is this just the way that things are going with applications like Uber? We're giving our locations. When we use GPS, our smartphones are constantly able to geotag us. Is this something that we just need to get used to? This is just how the future is evolving?
I think there's going to be a balance, but I don't think we found that balance yet. And this is going to be both one of the marketplace challenges over the next decade and an area of some concern.
And do you think geolocation tagging is significantly different from, example, your digital footprint when browsing? Because some could argue, hey, when you're browsing, you're giving your digital footprint. This is just your actual physical footprint using technology. What do you make of that argument?
Well, I think it becomes challenging to parse through some of the minutia of particular data collection and particular data use. I think it's generally recognized that precise location, lat and long, is considered data that is more sensitive, and then you would be required, if you're going to be using that type of data, to take additional privacy safeguards.
All right. Well, we'll see how that all develops. Thank you so much, Alan Chapell, founder of Chapell and Associates.